2.5. This series of baits right here is probably one of the most efficient ways of fishing a crankbait in shallow water, and that's the 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5 square bills. All three of the baits come through shallow water cover. You know, we're fishing grass lines right now. Just kind of ripping it through as it hits the grass, but they do such a great job at deflecting off a cover that I know a lot of people don't think about. If you're new to bass fishing, you don't think about fishing a crankbait in trees. And there's one ripped out of that grass. Ripping a crankbait out of the grass or through trees. Well, that's what's nice about the square bill, the 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5, is that because the way the bait deflects and rolls off cover, it very seldom gets hung up. So in so many situations, it's almost as weedless as fishing, say, a spinner bait through cover. But it's got just a completely different profile. You know, spinner baits are great and when you got some dirtier water, some wind, but in clear water situations where you don't have wind, like we're here, spinner bait's not going to get bit in this too much. Where a crankbait, a little bit more natural reaction, but we create more reaction strikes too, ripping that bait through the grass or bouncing it off tree limbs, whatever it might be. The thing is, it's a very simple bait to fish, and I think that's why so many people do fish them across the country, is that there's not too many places you can't throw this, and you just throw it out, and for the most part you can reel it in. So this grass flat right here has got clumps and different things everywhere. I'm just covering water, and you can see, and you can slow it down if the water's cold. You slow it down more. You know, if the water's a little warmer, you can speed it up. I like to fish crankbaits pretty fast, but it's a great way for locating and finding fish. You might find them with the crankbait because I can cover as much water, or I can cover a lot of water real fast. So I can fish this whole shoreline here, find the fish in the general vicinity they're in, yet I might go back through with a different bait and catch more. So it's a great search tool to cover a lot of water, find out what kind of pattern they're on, whether they're on certain types of docks, certain types of points. So fishing 1.5, 2.5s, 3.5s is just a nice, convenient, easy way of covering shallow water. And if the bite is on, man, there's not too many things that are gonna beat fishing this. You're gonna cover more water and catch more active fish than you would on any soft plastic bait. So that's the good part, is when this bite is on, you can't beat it sometimes. So don't be scared. I'm gonna fish it on, most of the time I fish on, as light as I'll go is 12. 15 is kind of like my go-to main line. If I'm gonna fish 1.5s, 2.5s, and then I'll go up into 20-pound test, depending on how heavy a cover I'm trying to fish and how deep I'm trying to fish. So if I want my bait to get a couple feet deeper, then I'll fish it on lighter line. If I want it to stay up super shallow, then I'll fish on a heavier line, 20-pound test. So make sure you check out 1.5, 2.5, 3.5s. And it really, I guess probably a question a lot of people will have is, when do you fish a 1.5 versus a 2.5 or a 3.5? And that's kind of a loaded question in a lot of ways, because certain bodies of water you go to, fish keyed in, different things. So it depends on the hatch. If the shad spawn's going on, and there's small shad on the lake, they're going to be eating 1.5. You know, there's certain bodies of water we fish where there's bigger bluegill, there's bigger everything, and that's where 2.5s, 3.5s can be more productive. But the most common one is the 1.5. That's you just want to get a bite. Trying to catch fish, the 1.5 is hard to beat as far as just pure fish catching ability. Then it's just a matter of branching off and trying the 2.5 to 3.5s to get bites. And I've had bites where I can, I'll fish a 1.5 through stuff and hardly get a bite, maybe catch a couple here and there. But I'll pick up a 3.5 and I'll start smashing them. So it's just something that you have to experiment, and you can't have just one in the box. It just doesn't work that way. So trying to figure out the fish, because if the fish really get dialed into something, they'll let you know once you got the right bait, the right size, right presentation, because you're going to start catching them. All right, so here's the lineup. This is a starting lineup. I don't care where you go. 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. And these are the shallow diving square bills, so you can actually get them into the deeper diving crankbaits as well. But those three sizes on the square bills are three must-haves. I don't care where you go around the country. So anytime these fish get up on shallow water, grass lines, rock, docks, laydowns, these are three super effective crankbaits for catching fish. So this color selection, that's up to you. But those three sizes, must have.